2 weeks ago, Lisa Christensen asked for our opinion on how the cuts would affect young disabled people in Norfolk.
Here are some of the Norfolk Coalition of Disabled People's Youth Forum's opinions on what the cuts would mean to them.
Making cuts, well, any cuts really, but specifically cuts which are going to disadvantage people that are in a pretty sort of disadvantaged situation in the first place. That is really irresponsible, as Jamie was saying. I think, that's a very irresponsible way to behave, given you're meant to be sort of considering the needs of everybody, really.
Listen, I know we're in the grip of a recession at the moment, but try and think of other ways to avoid cutting our services, because it's very important that we have our services kept on for us. I mean, people have worked so hard to try and get things like this for people with all sorts of disabilities over the last few years, and to have it taken away from us, we've only just got used to having nearly equal rights to everybody else. I know there were things that needed to be improved, but we have just got used to that. And to go back to the old days, say 20 or 30 years ago, I think that'd be an awful mistake for the government to make. So do think about it. How do you think that you'd be affected if these were cut?
But greatly, because we wouldn't be able to ask for help when you need it, and wouldn't be able to have so much freedom, and probably just be completely stuck, really.
Well, the things that help me to be independent are things like going on the buses, like travelling on the bus, and to be able to have adult services to back me up on any independent on any mobility that I would like to improve on, like cookery or going places, that kind of thing.
It'd be a bit boring if I had to stay in all day, because I like being out and about, being sociable and being independent, and as part as I can be possible. Please don't cut them, because I won't be able to do anything otherwise. Otherwise, if you cut all my benefits, I won't be able to leave the house or do anything I want to do.
Thanks, Josh.
I'd feel a bit downhearted if they did that. Downhearted, a bit miserable. I wouldn't make any friends. I wouldn't be where I am now, really.
What makes you independent?
I'm independent because I use a lot of gadgetry, like the cane, my telescope, my phone, a lot of stuff like that.
What do you think you need, Chris, to help you achieve your goals or ambitions?
Continued support by the equipment services and essentially support, increased mobility services, because I'm getting to the point now where I'm going to need those services more than ever when I'm exploring new places for university and whatever. A lot of the funding that goes into things like sensory support, Norfolk County Council, even services for the visually impaired and hearing impaired people, I find I use them a lot. Well, I use the visually impaired because I'm hearing impaired, but I use those services a lot because they're extremely useful and they're very efficient.
Alright, Chris, your final question. Hang on a second, people. Your final question, Chris, is what message would you give to the councillors or government ministers who are planning to enforce these cuts?
I'd say it's unfair on disabled people. I'd say it's an unjust decision. I'd say it's not fair at all, because why is it that only small things are being cut for non-disabled, able-bodied people, and yet for the disabled it's so dramatic and it will affect their mobility so badly that many people will have to be forced to stay in at home? It's unfair because in some cases it's discriminatory, because we're having, in effect, our independence taken away from us. and that's so unfair because a lot of the proposals the government and council are making simply blatantly discriminate. I mean, for instance, taking the sensory support away, that means that people like me and Ed won't be able to have canes. That's basically like making people wear eye shades in the street because we're so easily going to be knocked down, or we can not be spotted in a crowd when we're struggling. So yeah, it's awful because we, in effect, are being quashed. We are being archetyped as being the underclass, as being able to cope because that's all we know how to do.
Thanks a lot. Oh, you finished? Go on.
Yeah, no. We don't want to go back to where we were 30 years ago, where the disabled are basically treated like people who should be instituted. Because yeah, we're equal people.